Disney World is supposed to be a land of joy and happiness, a place where dreams come true and guests can let their wildest imaginations run wild. And it is. I mean, who doesn't love Disney World? The rides, the shows, the foods, the fireworks, it's all brilliant fun. And keeping up that sense of magic is something that Disney takes incredibly seriously. Yet accidents are inevitable, a sad part of life that will always be, even at somewhere like Disney World. As much as Disney would like for no one to ever hear about these accidents in order to preserve the magic, that doesn't stop them from being real. Here are 5 terrifying incidents the park wants you to forget. The premises of Disney World are so ridiculously huge that a monorail system is one of the few ways you can be transported from landmark to landmark. Without one, it'd take forever to cover long distances, but like any form of transportation, these things aren't without risk. On June 26, 1985, while a monorail train was traveling from Epcot to a nearby transportation and ticket center, a fire broke out and engulfed the rear car. Unfortunately for the passengers, this took place before there was a requirement for any on-board fire detection systems or emergency exits, meaning they had to take matters into their own hands. Passengers actually had to kick the windows out of the monorails themselves, climbing around the side in an effort to scramble up onto the roof. Eventually, they were rescued by the Reedy Creek Fire Department. Thankfully, the incident wasn't fatal, and the vast majority of injuries were minor and smoke inhalation related. No matter how desperately you try to keep somewhere safe, it's impossible to account for everything. Disney learned this during October 2014, when a bizarre tragedy struck at the Animal Kingdom. According to an Orlando-based attorney, guests were minding their own business when suddenly a snake fell from a large tree in a public section of a park. Upon landing, the snake reacted defensively and bit an 8-year-old boy. Things went from bad to worse when the boy's grandmother, shocked at what had happened, suffered a cardiac arrest and tragically passed away on the scene. The silver lining is that the snake itself was harmless, and the boy survived with a painful bite. According to Disney officials, the snake was wild, not one they were holding themselves for display in the Animal Kingdom. Though snakes at Disney are not a common occurrence, with certain types of snakes being wild in America, the incident at least had a logical explanation. Dinosaur is one of the most intense rides at the Animal Kingdom. It's a time travel journey in which guests are transported back in time and take a prehistoric tour, only to make a frantic, daring escape when things go wrong. How do you make something like this even scarier? You throw in a gun. On the 29th of May 2013, a guest shuffled into her seat on the Time Rover, only to find a fully loaded pistol sitting right next to her. Understandably concerned, the gun was reported to an attendant, who then passed the gun on to the police. In the end, it transpired that the owner of the gun, who had a concealed weapons permit, claimed he had no idea it was against Disney's policy to bring weapons into the park. In fact, he believed that the security checkpoints at the park entrance were used to locating bombs or explosive devices. It begs the question though, how was it so easy for the guest to bring the gun to the park when he wasn't even trying to smuggle it? Mission Space is a centrifugal motion simulator ride found at Epcot in Disney World. The purpose of the ride is to give guests an idea of what an astronaut might experience aboard a spaceship on its way to Mars. But when it first debuted, it was perhaps a little bit too realistic. In fact, between June 2005 and June 2006, paramedics treated almost 200 ride-goers, many of whom complained of suffering dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. 25 passed out, the same again had difficulty breathing, and 16 experiencing chest pains or irregular heartbeats. Understandably concerned, Disney then altered the ride so that it no longer contained the centrifuge portion. Though none of the injuries or related ailments were fatal, it's entirely possible a much more serious incident would have occurred if not for the alteration. For most, Disney World is a place of peace and joy, a place where you can go forget your troubles, rather than try to work through them. On September 12, 1992, however, a 37-year-old man named Al Ferris proved to be very much the exception, entering Epcot carrying a shotgun after the park had closed. Ferris fired multiple blasts at the 3 guards, eventually taking 2 of them hostage. The terrified guards were hostage in a restroom near the Journey to Imagination Pavilion. The reason? Ferris wanted to speak to his ex-girlfriend, who supposedly worked at the park. She had recently broke off their lengthy relationship, after which Ferris had attempted to slit his wrist. This prompted the ex-girlfriend to get a court order to keep Ferris away from her. Ferris then told his brother that he might be heading to a wedding, but instead traveled to the park, where he knew he might find her working. Surrounded by police and aware there was no way out, the man released the hostages and subsequently turned a gun on himself, committing suicide before he could be apprehended. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out our channel for more terrifying Disney facts. If you have any terrifying facts that you want us to go over, list them in the comments below. Have a great day!